All right, yesterday we took a look at Tech's defense and how it matches up with Oregon's offense. Today we're looking at the other side of the ball for both teams. What I think Oregon's defense is going to do schematically to try and slow down the way Texas Tech likes to operate, and kind of what Texas Tech does that stands out to me on film, at least watching this conference title game. So starting out here, we have a 2x2 formation, which you're going to see a lot of. So just spreading you out with really wide splits. And to me, what stands out immediately is how willing they are to just rub. I mean, it's really like a legit strategy decision here. So we're going to look at the bottom of the screen here. A lot of these routes are switch release. It's really part of their game plan. So we're going to get a wide receiver screen here in the flat from Tech. Again, with another rub route, right? So these guys do an exceptional job at making contact. It's like you're playing basketball on the football field. That's what I would like to call it. Like, this is a legit pick and roll here from the slot. And it becomes difficult to defend in like a traditional man-to-man where you would have players travel. So this is exactly what they're picking on. Just to show proof of concept, they're going to go from a really wide 3x1, like really wide split, into a 2x2, right? So utilizing jet motion to create a pick play. Like, these guys are just really good not only at doing that, but running straight man with traditional travel rules, like, again, I would not advocate doing. Not against these guys. It's rudimentary. Like, they're just picking on you. And BYU doesn't really make an adjustment in this game, and that's kind of why the score was what it was. So Texas Tech is a zone running football team. They utilize motion in a very interesting way to kind of get their crackbacks on the edge defenders here when they do run inside zone split. And I think that's unique. I don't think Oregon's played a team that does that on a consistent basis, at least, throughout the entire season. But I will say, just from like a physicality standpoint, if Tech plans on doing this in the game, I would worry a little bit, because this defender for Oregon is actually going to be 44, Tatum Tuioti, and he's an extremely big and physical jack linebacker for them. And I mean, if you guys want to go through the Oregon highlight reels, like, you're going to see him blow up blocks like this. I mean, he blows up mesh points with quarterback keepers and just all sorts of stuff. So Oregon's going to bring some physicality to the table when it comes to these kind of tight end linebacker interactions here in the backfield. So I do think that that's a point of concern if I was Texas Tech. It's a big down here. It's a 3rd and 2, and they're going to go right back to that split motion here, and it ends up getting a conversion. I want to highlight their running backs here, because I do think my personal opinion is their two most explosive players on this offense are both of their running backs. 8 is more of like a bruiser, one-cut guy. Like, he's a burst back, so he'll, 1 foot in the ground and he's pretty much full speed. And then 20 for them, which I'll show you in the next clip, he's more of like a twitchy speed guy. So when these guys aren't trying to spread you out, whether it's trips, 3x1 or a 2x2 spread, when they go condensed, they go bunch, usually with the running back to the same side. And they run out of this formation so much that it really sets up their RPO game out of it, which is what you're looking at right here. I've seen him run counter, I've seen him run duo out of this, and this is a great rep from 20 here. So exactly what I was talking about earlier, how I think he's the more explosive of the two. I don't know the statistics off the top of my head, but I do believe, just by looking at the film, I would be surprised if 20 isn't leading their team in broken tackles. All right, so we've seen runs, we've seen quick game, we've seen rub routes. Why don't we take a look at what it looks like when they take shots? So this is exactly what we're going to get here. I think this look is more like what Oregon's going to do to defend them, which we'll get into shortly after this. Wide receiver stack, I mean, it's a 2x2. They motion the tight end out and you get a 2x2. And BYU using a too high shell, right? So what they're going to do, so these two are in deep halves. Basically, you run this first guy to take this guy out And I believe that BYU's in a match coverage here, because the corner ends up playing match man, and his responsibility is to bump that inside that he's lined up over and pass it off. It's called a zone chuck into the rest of the defense there, and then match on, which is why you see him late to the ball, basically, because he's playing from behind by design. And it's only if number 3 were to go vertical, and he ends up going vertical. So, no, I do think that Texas Tech is going to end up doing this exact thing. Like, if they're going to take one-on-one shots, it's going to have to be one-on-ones that are schemed out of 2x2 formations, because I think Oregon's going to sit in a very similar defense, which I will now show you guys. Okay, let's talk about Oregon's defense here. So this is the shell that I'm talking about, that I think that they're going to end up running a considerable portion of the game. So 2x2 here from USC. It's not nearly as wide of a split as Texas Tech, which I think is going to be the interesting matchup in this game, is what Oregon's going to do to adjust to handle that. But you're going to notice really quickly, right, really light box, like 6-man box. And the reason for that is because this is where they play that third safety. So they're going to have 3 safeties in the game here when they're running this shell. And this is their free safety, Dylan Thieneman, number 31. So he would be technically the nickel defender, right? Because you have a defensive back, and then 3 safeties, right? So you're playing 5 DBs, but you're putting 1 in the middle of the field like this. And it's kind of like a pseudo extra box player, the way that they play him, because you have your 4 down linemen, and then you have your 2 linebackers, but he's at a depth right now where he's not accounted for in the run game. So it's very, the boxes are light on purpose, I guess, is what I'm getting at. And it allows them to do a bunch of different stuff in the coverage game. And they have full faith in every single one of these guys right here to hold their own, because all 4 of these guys are going to end up playing on Sunday. Again, it's the same look. This time it's a pass play. It's going to be a one-on-one shot down the sideline that ends up being a defensive pass interference penalty. So in this entire game, USC, especially when they went 2x2, because they knew that they were going to force this kind of back end from Oregon, they were pressing the sidelines here with their receivers, and they were taking these one-on-one shots, for better or worse, in this game. And they ended up getting a lot of things that went their way, that allowed them to move the ball. But they also have, first and second round wide receivers, NFL talent out there. So it's not really shocking that they were doing that. I mean, it's a good on good matchup for them. Oregon's defensive backs are a strength for them, and then USC's wide receivers are a strength for them. Anyway, what's important to note here that I think is interesting, just from like a back-end coverage standpoint, the way that they're able to, like when they align in this shell, it allows them to basically play man-to-man and then have it also look the exact same as their zone. And that's really what they're able to get away with. I'm interested to see how Oregon handles the wide splits from the wide receivers against Texas Tech, because it's going to make the running back an interesting threat here. And what I mean by that is, if you're going to bump your linebackers out, right? So right here, you're going to see the middle hole safety end up running for the running back here. I'm just curious if they're going to end up rolling coverage in this game to where like either the linebacker ends up being responsible for the running back, or they keep him as a flat player and roll this safety up. Whatever they end up doing, it's going to be an interesting matchup from that perspective. But I do think the key for Texas Tech is Oregon's going to dare you to run the ball. That's 100% what they're going to do. I mean, if you're just looking at this box again, like they have 4 guys right here. I'm going to reiterate the same point that I just did. 4 guys that are going to get drafted, and they want you to try to run into that. Because if you're not going to be able to sustain consistent run plays, they don't think that you can sustain consistent drives down the field. And to me, that's the matchup of the game. It's Oregon's defensive line against Texas Tech's offensive line. Like, can you manifest wins in the run game that are going to continue to push you down the field? Because if you can't, then you have to do what USC did, which is either win on penalties or win on one-on-one shots deep down the field on the sideline. Like, those are the options pretty much. So this is a good example of Oregon changing the look post-snap as it is pre-snap. And I expect Texas Tech to do a lot of motioning to kind of prevent this from happening to them. So basically, pre-snap, it's going to look like cover one, right? You're getting man indicators all the way across the board, right? So everybody looks like they're locked up. What's actually going to happen as we snap the ball here, they're going to roll into a cover two invert. So it's going to be the exact same look that they were just in, where 31 here ends up being that middle field player. And then you get your, I think he's in a spy, and you get your zone drops out of here. And, it's just another way to get there. They end up forcing an interception out of it. I think, this is an adjustment that they can go to where, like, hey, we can, even if you guys start running on us, like, now we can throw 7 guys in the box and still get the coverage that we want. And it's really difficult for offenses to deal with because of that specific reason. I mean, they manipulate box counts and they kind of force you to do what they want you to do. But yeah, I'm excited to see what both teams do, so we'll see.